So I saw a void in sports marketing. I started the company and sold it 9 months later.
Wow. 9 months.
9 months it took.
So what was that eye-opening experience to say, okay, I need to start climbing back up floors?
It was just, this is what's now. Okay, what's next? I sort of, when I look back on it, I look back on the time fondly, oddly enough. You know how much a pack of cigarettes is in Australia now?
What, probably about $25, $30?
Double it.
40, $50 for a pack, not
Yes.
a cartridge?
Yeah.
No way.
It's all tax. So they try to
What?
tax people out of, and they're hidden. You can't see them in stores. They're
No
hidden
way.
behind a wall.
So you got to ask for them.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Chris Salerno Show, your go-to for real estate, business, health, and family insight. I'm Chris Salerno, CEO of QC Capital. Each episode, we explore the latest trends and expert advice from industry leaders. Whether you're an investor, entrepreneur, or seeking balance, this show provides an inspiration you need. Join us and elevate your game on the Chris Salerno Show.
Welcome to the Chris Salerno Show. I'm your host, Chris Salerno. I have Jason Healy on the show. New friend. Our offices are 5 feet from
Almost
each other.
next door, mate.
Almost. We
yeah.
see each other a couple times a week.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate, happy that we moved into this office and happy that we connected. I heard a little bit about you through others, all great things. Excited to have you on the show to talk about your background and how you got started. But before we even do that, where's this accent coming from? I know, but let's tell everyone else.
Australia.
Australia.
Born in North Queensland, grew up, raised in Brisbane.
Okay.
Been in Charlotte.
Big surfer?
Yeah, well, as a kid, yeah. You're
Yeah.
always at the
Everyone, I mean,
And-
that's like the thing.
And you
out there.
do it, it's a subject, can be a subject at school if you choose it to be. So.
I'm sure they have programs at school too, like surfing programs.
Some do,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
I mean, every one of my mum's brothers and sisters surfed. So
Everyone
you're just around it.
I heard Australia's
haven't done it
beautiful.
in a while. I haven't been able to do it in a while.
Yeah, man. No, I heard Australia's beautiful. I
Yes,
want to go.
good
It's
spot.
just from here. It's like a over 20-hour flight. Like it's a haul.
It's a long,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And you got to
long.
go. You got to go for at least a week.
That's what I heard.
I've done it for 2 days.
yeah.
And it's horrible. I mean,
I don't. Yeah, if I'm going to be in a plane for over 20 hours, I'm not going for a couple days.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to have to
2
block
weeks
off
is
a week.
perfect,
Yeah.
especially because if you want to go see other places around the country,
Oh, most definitely.
it's a longer flight. Certainly longer than here.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. And so, when did you come over to the United States?
first time or to live?
To live.
Well, I was officially living here in 2010,
Okay.
and so that's what now? Geez, that's almost 15 years.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you've been here
I
15
keep
years.
saying 12 or 10, and
Yeah.
then I realize it's 15, almost 15.
Time flies.
Yeah.
I mean, especially flies when you have a child.
Yeah.
You said your child's 30.
But she lives in Australia. She's
Yeah.
staying there.
I mean, 15. She was 15 years old when you came over.
Yeah.
Yeah, time flies. Flies.
And she's having a kid now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You're a grandfather. How's
Not
that
yet,
sound?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm a grandfather, as I tell her, I'm a grandfather in support, but not in my wallet. My wallet is not a grandfather.
You made it clear to him.
Oh yeah, it's one of my rules.
That's a good rule, but when that child comes out, I think you're gonna love it.
You don't know me
tremendously.
well enough yet. Well, I'm sure I'll love it.
Well, yeah, I
but
love it.
My wallet will be safely tucked away. It's her responsibility.
Hey, I don't blame
Yeah.
you on that. I don't blame you. Well, you've had a lot of, a very interesting background from what I've read and businesses. We're going to definitely get to your big business that you had. But prior to even, coming out, talk to us about your entrepreneurial background. Were your parents entrepreneurial? Where did you get that itch from?
My dad definitely had the spirit, though he never
Took action.
started or did anything. So he was the main, I guess, because him and I would sit and talk about
Really?
business stuff and ideas and marketing
Just
slogans.
brainstorm.
Yeah, we would just do stuff. Sometimes we would write off, must have been 10, 11. We would write off ideas and send them to companies and stuff. We just
Really?
did that. We just enjoyed it, and we would sit around talking about that sort of stuff. So it started with him, and then my first experience was he worked for a big radio station, and they had these. They were called savings cards. It's like a membership card to the radio station, but you got discounts at different, their sponsors.
Okay,
the
yeah,
business.
yeah.
So they were free,
Okay.
but the kids at my school didn't know they were free and how to get them. So I would go to the radio station, borrow a stack of them,
Yeah.
take them to the school and sell them for 50 cents a pop.
Oh.
And I remember
And obviously that's a steal because they're getting a discount more than 50 cents.
yeah, but they're free if they just call
For
the
you,
radio
yeah.
station. Yeah. So my dad came home one day and he saw a stack of, in Australia we have a 50-cent piece, and he saw a stack of 50-cent pieces on my dresser, and he goes, "Where'd you get that?" I went, "Oh, I found it in the schoolyard." And it was,
shit.
what, a nice stack of 50-cent pieces.
Yeah,
So-
all right,
so
good lie.
so it came out. So that was my first foray, but I had to give it back. But yeah, he was the driving force behind that, and cars for me. That was the big. But he was, and he still thinks about that sort of stuff.
Really? Love that. And so talk to us about that first true business venture that you created.
First business, successful, I was would have been 22. It was a company called Full Time Marketing. It was a sports marketing company in Australia. And I had just come out of the professional basketball world and had good contacts, so I started this sports marketing.
When you say come out of professional basketball world, were you an agent in this basketball?
No, well, not until Full Time Marketing I was. I
Got
worked in, I was the CEO of a company that made all the uniforms and merchandising for the teams.
Oh, nice.
I had worked in the teams from a age of 10 to 20 in marketing and PR. So I just started a sports marketing company because I saw a void in Australia at that time where all they had was agents that take care of their I'm losing the mic here. They were just taking care of their contracts.
Yeah.
But were missing out on the endorsements and linking up with charities and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then also there was a huge void in semi-pro and amateur sports weren't getting any attention from brands, even though they had the numbers.
And is basketball big in Australia?
Yeah, it's quite well.
It's pretty big.
It went through a peak in the late '80s, and it probably dropped off since then, but still fairly strong. There's still teams in every city.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw a void in sports marketing. I started the company. I was 20. I must have been 20. No, I must have been a little bit older, 25. And sold it 9 months later.
Wow. 9 months.
9 months it took, purely by no plan. It was purely by accident. We had stumbled on, the big thing was we had stumbled on that amateur and youth sports were underappreciated by their numbers. So you look at junior soccer in Australia had 500,000 members. That's 500,000 families in a country of 20 million. That's a good base.
Yeah.
So we worked out selling those bases to brands, and then they get access to the families, and the sports get better funded.
Wow. In 9 months.
Yeah, and then sold that, and a year later had $70 in my bank account.
So let's talk about the
started
sell, though.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, when they sell their first business, I talk to them, and as they look back, they're like, damn, I could have sold it for more, because they know more about preparing businesses for sale and things like that. You know, in my opinion, a good rule of thumb is you need a good 2 years to prepare a business for a sell. For a really big, ultimate, clean sale, you need 2 years of making sure these financials are good to have a strong sale. You know, what was going through your mind? What guidance, was your father helping you to say, okay, we're going to sell this? And what did that sell look like?
I have never, ever built a business to sell it.
No.
Never thought about it, never cared. For me personally, it was, if you do the right thing, you focus on the product and the customer, all those things will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So I've never gone into something with an exit strategy.
Yeah.
And I've done 3.
So you gone into building businesses to build the business,
Yes.
not say, hey, I'm going to build it for 5 years and I'm going to exit for X amount.
And the other thing was, everything I built, I was passionate about. I
Yeah.
never went into something saying, how can I make a lot of money? So I never had. So when and people have asked me about the selling and building for exit, and I went, the great thing I learned was that when I built through passion and built something because I wanted it, when it came to sale time, I had a great card to play, because at the end of the day, okay, you don't buy it, I still get to run a business I love.
Yeah.
And I think that helped. Plus also, I just, building a business and a product, a brand, whatever, is difficult. And it calls for a lot of hard times, whether it be bootstrapped or or just negative times or times when it's down. And what really gets you through that is passion. A lot of people quit if they're not passionate about it at that point. They
That's
go,
right.
oh, it's too hard, it won't work. So for me, I found that passion fixes a lot of those things.
Love that. Love
And
that.
so that's how I've always done it.
No,
Because
I-
I know I'm not going to do the work as much or as hard if I'm not passionate about it or have some sort of stake.
You have to be passionate about it, even being an entrepreneur. I was in the sauna. So I told you I work out at Lifetime Fitness, and I have some really good discussions in that sauna, I'll tell
Yeah.
you, even about politics. But last night,
Million jokes, won't use any of them.
it's some good ones. Last night I was in there and I started talking. A gentleman asked what I did, and I told him. And I said, "What do you do?" He says, "I own a landscaping company." But he's like, "It's so hard for me to get up and go to work." And I said,
Yeah.
"Well, you truly don't love what you do then." For me, I jump out of bed,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't wait to be at the office. I love it. But for individuals like that, that's not their true passion.
Yeah.
That's not their true drive, that motivation. Because as an entrepreneur, you are holding yourself accountable, and you have to stay disciplined, and you have to stay consistent to grow the business you want to grow at the end of the day.
It's more so you got to do all those things, but it's the tough moments that passion gets you through. That you
Oh,
push
100%.
through a ceiling. You go, I've got faith in this. I got faith in me. I can do this, and I love doing it.
Yeah.
That's the bit for me. I found because I've thought about doing other things sometimes when I've looked at, well, there's good money in this. It's popular, yada yada, and I've gone, I'm not gonna stay up for 2 days to get through stuff. If something's tough in this, or it's bad,
Yeah.
or the first hurdle, I might go, this might not be a good idea. Whereas when you're passion based, you tend to push through those barriers
Most
a
definitely.
lot easier. It's not still hard, but
It's
easier.
always going to be hard, but yeah, when you have that passion behind it, you're willing to break through a brick wall.
Yeah.
And still stay consistent, keep pushing.
And as you know, it's not 90% of the times you're going to fail anyway.
100%.
So you might as well
Might as well try.
go into something passionate.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most entrepreneurs fail. They can't
Yeah.
stay disciplined. They can't go through it. They fall out of passion too. They may think they're in passion, but once they get into it, they may realize I'm not truly passionate about this.
Yeah, and it comes down to there's so many things, luck, timing, that in order to wear through that barrage of constant threat of failure, you got to be
Oh, yeah.
passionate about it, because it's the only thing that gets you through. Even when you fail, I always say to people I consult to, I go, keep this in mind. You're most likely going to fail.
Yes.
How do you want to do that?
Mhm.
And they go, oh, that's bad. And I go, no. What I'm saying to you is do it your way.
Correct.
And failing is still bad, but you learn so much more, and you turn usually that failure into success.
Yes.
When you've done it your way. There's nothing worse than going back going, I shouldn't have listened to that person, or I shouldn't have read this blog of someone that
See,
hadn't
that's-
done it before, but gave me the advice and I followed them.
100%.
There's nothing worse than failing when you weren't holding the wheel.
No, you are 100% correct. I think a lot of people get into that victim mindset of why did I do this? Why? And one thing I've changed my mindset about years ago is how can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? What did this situation teach me? And why didn't I know that going into the situation? How can I take this example of this situation, move forward with it, and make sure it doesn't happen again because I got taught this or I got taught that. I think people need to change their outlook on it. And I think they need to accept that, hey, you are going to fail. It's just how are you going to fail? And how do you minimize that failure? And come back and keep going.
Or maximize it.
Yeah, or maximize it. Yeah, very much so. So after selling that business, you then said you had
Was
70.
broke.
Tell us about that. Normally you make
So
money.
just young kid, 22. You think
What'd you sell it for?
I had in the end. This was 22, and this is how many years ago? Almost 30. I must have had, I would think, 150 grand.
Got it. So back then you were like, hey, I hit it big.
Yeah, and you think they keep coming. So I went out and lived, and I went on holidays. I took friends on holidays.
Stayed
I
at
just
nice
did
hotel,
the
all that, yeah.
normal stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then turned around one day and $70.
Wow.
And so everything was gone, and for a good year to 2 years, I was homeless, sleeping on a friend's couch, sleeping in the car while I had it because it got taken eventually too. So that was the foray into.
How was that? Because you got smacked to the bottom being homeless.
I don't think that's
You think?
the bottom. I think there's far worse you can go through.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Was that the bottom for you though?
Yeah.
So that was the bottom for you. So you personally got smacked to the bottom
In my professional life.
in your
yeah,
journey.
Yeah.
And what was that eye-opening experience to be
Well,
like,
when you
hey.
say smacked, I took an elevator to the bottom. I pressed the bottom. I pressed the basement on the elevator.
so
There's no one else but me did it. You know?
Yeah, no, and at the end of the day, it's solely on you.
Yep.
You know. And so, what was that eye-opening experience to say, okay, I need to start climbing back up floors?
Well, it was just, this is what's now. Okay, what's next? I sort of, when I look back on it, I look back on the time fondly, oddly enough. Even though there were a lot of great moments in that, and a lot of great learnings. And I went back and ended up getting a job at a nightclub I had an interest in, and he said, I go, mate, I need help. And he goes, okay. He goes, I don't, because it wasn't a successful nightclub. It was just a good local bar sort of thing. It was a rough place. And he goes, here's what I can do for you. He goes, I want you to design my posters and marketing stuff and clean the toilets, and I give you $150 a week. And I went, I'll take it. And he goes, here's the other thing. He goes, you can drink and hang out here. That's on me, and enjoy yourself. And if need be, you can crash here for the night each night.
Oh, shit.
Because you got to be back at
Early
4
morning,
a.m., 5 a.m. to clean up anyway.
So you're like, yes.
So I was like, done. So I did that for a good year, almost 2 maybe. That was a cool experience. It was horrible. I'm not going to lie. It was horrible.
Oh, I bet.
Having to clean up sick and all the crap that comes with cleaning up a rough nightclub. But it was for 22, 23 years old. It was a horrible freedom, but it was still a freedom. It was. I have made a decision. I'm living with it. Even though I'm a horrible driver, I've driven into this path.
Correct. Yeah.
And I'm going to go with it. And it was good. And I learned a lot. I used to even once I picked myself up again and did it well, I used to go back and ask him if I could come in one day and clean the toilets again, just to remember.
Have that,
just to
that
remember
moment.
what it was like again.
Wow.
But yeah, I was down for about, it would have been 2-3 years, of some friends' couches, staying in the club. Yeah, I make no mistake, there were horrible times, but with the passing of time, I look back on it fondly, because I don't think I'd be where I am today had I not gone through that on a bunch of different levels. On not looking down on people who are down on their luck, not judging, not when someone comes to you with an opinion or idea, it doesn't matter what their
be open-minded to it.
Yeah, you just and not giving a shit. I don't give a shit if you think I have money or as peers I have money. I don't give a crap about that anymore, and that's what that experience did for me. I love that.
No, I love that. And so going through those tough times, talk to us about those other companies that you were involved with.
And after that?
Yeah, after
So
that.
then the funny thing was, after that, I get a call, and it's a Friday afternoon, I'm sitting in my friend's backyard. He's bought me my cigarettes and he's bought the beers, and we're sitting out back and we're chatting and laughing. I get this call. It's from a guy in Sydney, and he goes, "Hey, I heard what you did with the company I used to work at, the basketball team, with buying their advertising and some ideas you had, and I've just started this company. I need you to come down." And mind you, I got this on speaker, and my friend who's sitting next to me, he's thinking, "Oh God, yeah, you're going to finally be off my couch, and I don't have to buy you cigarettes."
Take it.
And the guy told me, he goes, "This is what I'm doing, and yada yada, and this is what the pay is." And I went, "Sounds like a great opportunity, but it's just not. I can't do it for that sort of money."
Yeah.
And I basically hung up. And my friend,
was like,
he looked at me and goes, "What the fuck are you doing? he goes, I want to kick you out. And I go, just wait. So we talked and laughed a bit. About an hour later, the guy called back and said, look, I can do this. And I said, okay, great. I said, I'll come down next week and we'll chat. This sounds good. So then I had to call my dad, and my parents, like me, we were taught, you get to 18, you're on your own. You know, don't. And my dad was like, okay, I'll pay for your flight.
So that's where the 18 rule comes from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely mum and dad. I mean, they were always helpful. They were great parents.
Yeah, 100%.
But they had hard and fast rules about carrying an adult.
And I think it's super important. Yeah. I mean, you know, as you said, you see my son come in the office, he's like a little man, you know, and I'm pretty rough on him, you know, because life is rough. Yeah. You know, it's not easy. And I don't want him to get to the teenage years and think he has it easy. Yeah. I want him to understand that, you know, no matter who his father is, it's still going to be rough. Like, you still got to work. Yeah. You still got to appreciate the things you have in life, and it's by working hard to achieve those.
Yeah, because right now, as my dad used to say, you don't have shit. Yeah. I have shit. And you're borrowing it, but it's not yours.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So I borrowed the money from Dad for the flight, and the first thing he says to me, he goes, when's the first paycheck you're going to get? I go, in a following Monday.
He says, give me some.
That Monday, he called me and said, have you sent the money back yet for the flight? I go, no, it hasn't cleared. As soon as it gets, I will send it back to you. And it did.
And that teaches you how money operates.
Yeah.
You know, money is a cycle, and if you don't understand how it flows, you know, you're not going to be a good steward of it. And, you know, he taught you right there that, you know, you borrowed money to get somewhere. Now you got to repay that money back. Yeah. Did he charge you interest?
He didn't.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's nice of him.
No,
I would have thrown in like 1% interest, or maybe a half.
The flight
point.
was $180 or something. I think at the time, like, it was something minimal.
Yeah,
it was good, but no, that was the getting back on my feet and working there, and then that he offered me a partnership in the company. I took it.
Wow.
And then 2 years later, I sold out of that company. Happened to be here in Charlotte. I was coming back and forth because I was consulting to a company that wanted to get into that industry.
And what industry was it?
So it was mobile phone media. It was the early days of ringtones, pictures, subscription services.
I remember with my flip phone, when I first got a phone, it was in the Kia, where you can rip out the little rubber pad and you could have different type of ringtones.
Yeah. So it was all that. So it boomed, and this was, I'm terrible with dates, but this was when that was just
growing,
out.
The cell phone of the industry. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, games were just coming, but, you know, it was crap.
It was basic. Yeah, it was basic, little black and white
but
games.
But it was hot. It was, you know, you would charge per download. It was just huge services.
I mean, I remember my father got the BlackBerry. Yeah. I remember that era, though. Everyone was like, oh, my God, you can search the internet in your hand? Yeah. Like, what is that? You know, and
it was horrible. The quality, how long
terrible.
It took, but it was the start of something. So we were in at the ground floor. I got out of that and just happened to be consulting here in Charlotte, and I was coming back and forth from Australia, and I'd come here every couple of months, and I had an apartment here, and met my wife. She's from North Carolina, and then. So I was consulting to them, and then stumbled across electronic cigarettes. And then that was the next thing. Yeah. You know, I'd sold full-time marketing, sold out of the mobile phone business, and then
you're good at seeking opportunity.
I don't think I seek. I just stay
It comes
open.
to you.
I just stay open-minded. I listen. I probably less so now, but back then
when I mean
listen.
Seek, I don't mean you're out hunting for it. When you see it, you grab it. So you take action. Just like as a kid, you saw those stack of cards and you realized, well, I could take this to school to sell it. So why don't I do it?
But
you know? Yeah. I mean, I when I was in high school, I went to a school that had shit food. And so what I would do is I would cook chicken sandwiches at the house in the mornings, and I put honey on it, and they were the best. And I would sell them to all the football players while I was at school because no one wanted to eat the shit food. So I'd sell them $5 a sandwich cash until the principal shut me down. But you know,
Did you have to pay your parents for the chicken and the sandwiches?
No. I heard it a couple years
so
after.
you started stealing as well.
Yeah.
We both started stealing.
I heard it afterwards. She was like, you know, I always supplied the chicken. And
profit.
I know, it was nice for me. She's like, I'd always supply this chicken and bread.
The margins were awesome.
They were great. Phenomenal margin. I wish I can get that in today's market. So when you say stumbled across, how do you stumble across? Because I remember e-cigs blew up quick.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing, because I'm a big Formula One guy, I did some history of Formula One. I mean, Marlboro used to sponsor F1.
Still do.
You know, in a different way, though.
No, they can't. Ferrari couldn't change their color from red. That's Marlboro who dictates that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. But they don't have the name brand of Marlboro. Yeah,
I think they still spend $60 million a year on Formula One. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And they use it, for the entertainment and
all that. Yeah, interesting.
But yeah, it's still there.
So
and there was for a while. You remember when it was illegal? It still is. And they had a barcode on the Ferrari, the back of the car.
Oh no,
that was the Marlboro barcode.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then just recently, I can't know if you remember, Ferrari had a weird sponsor for a while. Mm-hmm. It was called, it was a weird sponsor. It was like I forget the name, but it was like a do better in life thing.
Yeah.
And that was Marlboro.
Interesting. Yeah. So they found other ways to market.
Yeah, they all each time got
creative
down and got stopped and I think maybe fined, but they found ways to stay involved.
Interesting. So, a lot of the tobacco industry started shutting down, a lot of, bad publicity and media out on that. How do you stumble across? Because I remember the hype. I mean, I think you sold at a right time, just from what I've seen the market is.
We're gonna
we're gonna dive into that. But from what I've seen from the outside, I think you sold at a great time because a lot of people are now against e-cigs and things like that. They have a negative sight on it. So all that started happening with tobacco. How do you stumble across Blue?
I had seen it. So to back up, I had run the company called Hoop to Hoop that had made all the uniforms and merchandise for basketball teams in Australia, and we had a factory in China. So
you were going back and forth to China.
I had good contacts, and the product in its early stages, this was 2008, came up, and I looked at it, and I was like, "Wow, this is all being done wrong. I'm going to do this." So I went and I created some samples, created my own product. And just had some samples for me to, as a smoker. That was the other thing. Another thing I was passionate about, or I was into at least. I was a smoker.
Cigarettes or cigars?
Cigarettes.
Do you smoke cigars?
Occasionally.
Yeah. I'm a big cigar guy. I had one last night.
Yeah.
Cigarettes I can't get into.
Yeah. So I was always into that.
That's big in Australia too, right?
Well, smoking has always been massive. Well, now,
it's been massive.
It's tough.
I mean, I remember.
You know how much a pack of cigarettes is in Australia now?
What, probably about $25, $30?
Double it.
$40-$50 for a pack, not a cartridge?
Yeah.
No way.
It's all tax. So they try to tax people out of, and they're hidden. You can't see them in stores. They're hidden behind a wall.
So you got to ask for them.
Yeah. And it just says they're just an olive green pack with the name written on in letters. There's no branding, there's no design, there's no nothing.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. Just a quick reminder to make sure you never miss an episode. Stay connected with us by following us on social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok at Chris_Salerno_. And don't forget to subscribe to YouTube to catch the video versions of our episode. You'll get exclusive content, behind-the-scenes footage, and much more. Head over to YouTube, Chris_Salerno now, and hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned because we've got more great content coming right after this.
I couldn't imagine the time if you and I took an airplane and people are just lighting it up and it's hot boxing the whole airplane.
The funny thing is, I kind of wish I lived through that era, old enough to smoke.
To see that.
Because I would have loved to have sitting there with
we can do it on our private jets.
Yeah, do it with a scotch and a cigarette would have been phenomenal.
Yeah, we can do it on the private jets, but commercial we can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole different era.
Yeah.
And so you're going back and forth from Australia, and talk to me when you're in China. Were you just walking around and you saw this concept?
No,
you were
I
talking
didn't
to your
see it there.
manufacturer?
I just had the people that used to sit in between us and the Chinese factories in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
They were more agents and would manage your business there.
Got
and
it.
so we kept talking. and they would say things that would come up. Hey, have you seen this product? And this is happening. And then I would just stay in touch with them. And they mentioned it. And I said, well, give me some samples. And it went from there.
So you got some samples.
Got some samples. And then I started to seriously look at it. I saw some shortfalls of the design and the product and how it looked and felt. And definitely the marketing was way off.
Yeah.
And so I started
Marketing's
to
important.
develop.
Marketing's everything.
I started to develop the look and feel, and then got some more samples, made some changes, and then just went, okay, I think I've got this to the point where I could launch it and develop the brand and launch it, and did that in 2009.
Wow. And so when you started developing it, what was the mindset? You said you didn't have a mindset for a huge exit.
Nope.
So what was
Never
the
thought about
mindset
it.
to build this to an international company?
I was a smoker. I wanted to do it, and I knew other smokers wanted it.
Wow.
That was the whole mentality. I never, ever thought about exit. It was, people brought it up in conversations, and it wasn't.
Because one of the big things too about smoking, smoking a cigar, you do get the residue of the cigar on your fingers and the breath too. Smoking e-cig or a blue, you don't get that.
No, there's no. Which for someone who loves cars, I never smoked in my house. I didn't like smoking in the car.
Yeah.
Those are all the things, and that's the avenue I tackled it from. Whereas
how can you do it in the house?
All the others were non-smokers that started it because they saw a business and they saw an exit.
Yeah.
They saw dollars instead of a product and a brand. And I never came. They all went at the consumer like their mom, like, you need to quit smoking. You need to stop. It's filthy. It's disgusting. And I said, no. I'm not telling other smokers. I know what it's like.
Here's just a different way of smoking.
Here's your freedom back. Go ahead and smoke.
Wherever you want, no one's going to know.
Go ahead and smoke.
Wow. And so talk to us about the nicotine side, because these are liquids inside these, and you can control the nicotine. Mm-hmm. So you can actually essentially help people stop smoking too, to weed down the nicotine. Talk to us about formulating that, and then how did flavors get involved? Because I know
flavors was obvious for me. Once you take away the burnt and the ash and everything, it opens up a whole realm,
different world,
possibilities of how would I as a smoker want my cigarette to taste? And so it leads down that path.
That's a whole different market.
Yeah. Well, it's not. The thing is, it's not for us. The worst and best thing about Blue was we had the most smoker base ever, and we were strict on who got it and how they got it. But we were the ones, because we were the largest at the time, I was the one dragged in front of the U.S. Senate by Senator Rockefeller.
No way.
I was the one they went after.
Really?
But my stats, and it was there. We were 35 to 45 smoker. We had no complaints of kids getting them. We had none of that stuff.
Yeah.
But they were coming after me because of what other people were doing, but also I was the biggest target.
Wow. Because you were the leader in the industry.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that. I'm sure you had to go to DC, all that. Talk to us. How was that?
It was 2 months of preparation. I think we spent $1 million on it.
Wow.
Preparing
with
for
attorneys, with everything,
with
your script, what you're going to say.
Ex-senators, mock Senate hearings. I had to sit for 8 hours with ex-senators and get grilled and practice and then lawyers saying you can't say this, you got to be careful when you say that.
How was it sitting in that chair? Because I watch it.
Horrible.
When I see some big things that will impact the real estate industry or our industry, I watch how they say it, what they say, things like that.
Well, first of all, it's all theater. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, they don't know. All of them up there sitting up there is all show. They don't know shit.
They probably know 2-3 hours before the hearing what they're actually being told.
Are you serious?
They sit there. They're just reading. They're grandstanding.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, complete bullshit.
Wow.
So it was horrible. And then so when you get there, the things they don't tell you and you don't realize is there's a desk, big thing where you're sitting on with all the people they're going to bitch at and talk down to sit here, and they're up on this 8-foot high stage looking down on you.
Yeah.
But they sit you in a chair, and the desk comes to here, and you go, "You're fucking kidding me." So the whole time, for the whole 2-hour hearing, was lifting myself off the seat so that I didn't so trying to be proud
Yeah.
in front of and stand up. Didn't drink the water. I was told, don't drink the water because they're watching to see how nervous you are,
When
and they'll
you-
come at you.
you
You know,
drank-
whoever drinks more, they're more nervous. So I never drank the water.
Oh, really?
I actually lost feeling in the side of my leg for a month because of how I was pushing.
How you were sitting,
pushing
and
myself up
standing?
on the seat to stand tall.
Real? Wow.
It was the, it opened my eyes to the true hypocrisy and how full of shit
It's terrible.
those people are.
I think this Biden administration really opened my eyes up to, not only not only Republicans and Democrats, but just how fucked up the government is.
Oh, they're horrible. So the people we were paying, lobbying,
Because you got to
when
do
they
that.
came in, they said to me, "Oh, look, we're just not going to ask you any questions. That's what we do for our money."
Wait, what?
Yeah, and then to
I'd say get
then,
the fuck-
then to learn the other side, they were being paid by pharma and
So you're talking about, so you're sitting down and you're paying the individual up there.
there'll be some
Congress.
that come in.
Yeah, and they're not going to ask you questions because you're paying them.
They'll just stay out of it. They won't defend, even though
They'll
they
just say,
know.
"Hey, next."
We just won't defend
And
you.
then you got big
We
pharma.
won't bash you, but we won't defend you.
And you got big pharma on the other side paying that's how Nancy Pelosi makes all her big money.
Oh yeah,
They get paid from lobbyists to go ahead and
Oh,
ask
yeah.
certain questions.
A lot of money.
So what was the outcome after that?
Nothing.
Waste of taxpayer dollars.
Oh, complete
waste of money.
Complete waste of time.
Just that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Everyone's time and money.
That's
but they get to
unbelievable.
grandstand. That's their
their little
market.
fame.
Well,
Their
you
light.
think about it, that's their market. They have to grandstand and be visible and earn their money that they're paid, however way they're paid.
So I bet you walked out after that and smoked one. I bet you
Oh,
were like,
I remember. I had just sold at that point.
oh, so right before you sold.
No, this was right after I sold. Like as soon as I sold, they came after me
Oh, okay. Well,
Because-
we're going to get back to your selling
because
on it.
they had to have a big
Big
name to go after, and then they had to trash me with the aspect of being bought by tobacco.
Oh my
So
god.
they had all their, they were waiting.
They were waiting for that sell, and then boom.
But the great thing was with the tobacco company, they had flown me there in one of the private jets, and they said, "Jason, what do you need?" And I said, "I want a bottle of scotch, waiting for me on the plane, and in the car to take me to the plane."
Damn right.
So I walked to the bottom of the steps, the Senate thing, and
Yeah.
threw the tie, because I never wear a tie, threw it on the ground at the Senate building. Got into the car. There was a bottle of scotch, had a nice scotch, then got on the plane, a couple scotches, and went home. But nothing came of it. Nothing. It did nothing. No good.
No, nothing.
All it
Waste.
is.
Wow. So let's back up. So that was after the sale.
Mm-hmm.
When you Blue, I mean, I remember seeing Blue in gas stations.
Yep.
I love the marketing, BLU.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. How'd you come up with the name?
So, again, back to I wanted to make, essentially, my whole premise when I started it was for smokers. I didn't give a shit about people who weren't smokers, but for smokers, I wanted to make smoking cool again. And when I was testing prototypes, everyone were making them that looked like a cigarette, had a red light, and they even had the fake butt and everything.
Yep,
They looked like a
I
cigarette.
remember seeing that.
So when I tested those, when I got the first samples, I would be in a bar somewhere or a restaurant, and people would come out, "Hey, you can't do that," and they yell and scream at me. And I went, "Oh, okay." Then I went, "Well, I'm going to go the opposite," and I made it matte black with a blue light.
I love that.
When I did that, the whole attitude went from,
What is
screaming
that?
at me to, "What the hell is that? How cool is that?"
No
And I went,
way.
"Okay, good." But I did it from the avenue of the smoker. I didn't,
You
so
didn't
that
do
they
it
were
from-
protected.
Yeah.
When a security guy sees across a room back then a blue light, they go, wow, what's that?
Yeah.
They don't come over swinging and
Yeah.
treating you like
All
crap.
angry.
And I wanted smokers to feel better.
Because you were a smoker.
Smoker,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so you were sitting in your consumer's chair.
Yep.
And you're saying, okay, I'm a smoker. How can I make this work in my
What's
in my
good
life
for me and my
is going to be what's
fellow
good for smokers.
That's what it did.
Wow. And so then you came up with the name Blue, and talk to us about the marketing behind that. What avenues, now these days everyone uses social media influencers,
Weren't
boost
allowed.
profit,
Well, first of all,
things
we
like
were
that.
banned on Google.
So
we
banned on
couldn't
Google.
use any search.
A lot of tobacco stuff. You got to be careful with
Yeah.
that.
Banned on search. The marketing plan was to do whatever the fuck we wanted, however we wanted. That's always been my plan with businesses, that I'm going to do it with our personality and how we want to do it, and so be it. What the big challenge was, we had to find, with no money or very little money, we had to take $1 and turn it into $100. So the cool thing was going out and finding ways to do that and find the avenues. That was the magic for Blue, because we were, our next competitor had $40 million. I had 50 grand.
And let's talk about that, because you talked to me about raising capital. And as everyone knows, I always say, if you're building a business, no matter what you do, especially a private equity business like I have, you have to understand the art of raising capital. Yep. Elon Musk bought Twitter, turned it into X, but how did he do it? He raised capital. So you have to understand how to raise capital from ultra high net worth. But you started Blue with 50,000. What in your mind says, okay, I need to go get some outside money?
I didn't.
No, nothing.
No.
Nothing.
No.
So talk to me how on the growth from 50,000.
Well, the growth was extraordinary. We, within a month, the first day we launched it, the site was shut down with traffic. Within 2 months, we were sold out of the initial product I bought. And so it just went nuts.
And so that type of marketing, 2 months you sold out of the initial product.
Yep.
From word of mouth?
No. So again, this is about taking $1 and turning it into $100. I want it to be on the internet. I want it to be TV. I want it to be radio. I want it to be print. So the first thing I looked at is, how do I get there with this $1 I've got? And I found an avenue that now most people know about it because I've told the story. I went to porn sites. Said, you got traffic. No one buys your traffic other than other porn sites or sex toys or things.
Yeah.
I need traffic. And they essentially gave it away. Very cheap. Because to them, it's, largely exit traffic, so it's gone.
Yeah.
So they convert with their stuff, and they were also excited to see how a regular product went on their site, because no one advertises, obviously, on their sites.
Yeah.
So that's how we launched. The funny thing was, I would get
that was pretty cheap marketing.
big businessmen, politicians calling me going, hey, whether it was to invest. I had a big Hollywood person call me to invest.
All from marketing on porn sites.
But the funny thing was, they assumed we were advertising everywhere. They didn't know we were only on porn sites. So when they would call me, I would go, they'd say, I saw an advertising online. No, I saw your advertising online. And I went,
yeah.
Okay.
You knew because you only had one source.
We used to have a sign in the office that said, all our customers are wankers.
Wow.
But that's where it started. And then we kept that same principle or philosophy with the print. My marketing guy, he goes, okay, we're going to go to all the magazines. And when they're ready to go to print, but they're missing pages, they haven't sold,
they'll call you up at a discount.
But you have to be ready in an instant.
So you have to have it already ready. Yep, so we do that with some publications
we
now.
We just bought Remnant on TV. Everything that no one wanted, we bought.
Wow.
And we bought it cheap. So much so, when we got bought by Lorillard, their tobacco company, they were spending millions on advertising where they could.
Oh, yeah.
I think they were paying about $250,000 a year to be exactly where we were across print. We were doing that same thing for 20 grand.
Wow.
So it's about that where Blue's real magic was. There's plenty of other stories, little things we did. I was just talking to a client the other day. They're starting and they're struggling to find ways. And I just said to him, and I showed him all the different ways. We could go on for hours about, you've got to think different and think, this is what I need. Sit down. I don't care if it takes you a week. Write the million different ways to get there. To get that. I want a print ad. Work out a million different ways to do it, because there are a million.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone now just sits back. Yeah, I got a brand now. I'm going to get an Instagram ad, and I'm going to do that. They take the normal path and then wonder why they get the normal results.
Yeah. No, definitely understand that. So 3 years. And then what made you? You're not preparing for a sale, so what made you say, "Hey, I'm going to sell this thing. Now's the right time to sell"? What made you?
Couple things. We knew regulations were coming. And
They were
it'd
getting tighter.
Be expensive.
Yeah.
And to battle that with the FDA,
You got to have
the
an
lawyers,
attorney. Oh yeah.
and you just got to go through
Because
lot.
they have unlimited money, and that's what I always say. Because we deal with SEC, that's who governs our type of businesses, and they have unlimited money.
Well, it's not that they have. They really don't. They just are allowed to put a massive burden on you where you have to spend.
Oh, correct.
Because
and
they have power.
But they're outspend
Because
you.
technically the FDA is not, other than the tobacco arm of the FDA, they're not funded well at all. But all they have to do is say, I want you to do this. Now, it's going to cost you $20 million. I don't care.
Yeah, and if you have
Yeah.
$20 million
Yeah.
to drop it
Yeah.
on attorneys and things, most of the time you'll try to settle as quick as possible.
No, but they'll just put the hurdle up. You don't spend it, you don't make it.
Yeah.
So I knew that was coming. We had seen the initial stages of that. And it was time. It was perfect timing. You could see the tobacco companies were looking to make a purchase, and the Lorillard who bought us wanted to be the first to make the move.
Got it.
So they came to us.
And so they approached you guys and
Yep.
said, "Hey, would you entertain an offer?"
Yep, I got a call. I was in Vegas for the bar and nightclub show. I was actually sitting at the roulette table. It was in the evening.
No way.
It was in the evening. And my phone kept
Are
buzzing.
you a big
and-
roulette guy?
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
I like poker and blackjack.
But as you know, you can't have your phone
At blackjack. Yeah.
Well, at roulette either. You can't pick
Oh,
up.
you can't do it
can't
at
be
roulette
sitting
either.
at it and take the phone.
Got
So I had
it.
it on silent. It was buzzing in my pocket. And eventually I got up,
Yeah.
and there's like 10 missed calls from the office. And then I
You're
called
like,
them
"Okay,
back.
what's going on?"
The guy said, "Oh, there's such and such from tobacco company. He's calling you." And I thought, "Oh, this is going to be some lawsuit."
Yes, here
And
it
I
comes.
Google the guy, and he's CFO. And I went, "Well, they don't call for lawsuits."
Yeah.
So I call him back. And he just said, "Me and the CEO want to have dinner with you in Charlotte. Give us a date." I said, "Okay, here next Wednesday." So we went and had dinner. And, at dinner, they said, we talked for a little bit. And then it was, "We want to buy you. Is it possible?" I said, "Well, anything's possible."
Yeah.
And so we just started talking from there. And 6-9 months later, we had a deal and we did it.
Wow. Unbelievable. And, after that, where is Blue now?
Now, today,
Yeah.
well, at that point, we had 75% market share.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think there might be 2%, 2 or 5%.
Wow, they dropped big time.
They went through one of the big.
Are they
things
even
I
still
do-
around?
Oh, they're still around.
They're still around.
Huge in UK, Spain.
Yeah.
Much bigger. than
Billion-dollar
they are
company
here.
now?
Oh yeah, there'd be. If you had to buy Blue today, from talking to people in the tobacco, I don't think Imperial would sell it for less than $1 billion.
Wow.
So whether it does that, who knows?
Yeah,
that's
but
what it's worth
their
to-
market share went down substantially. So,
Well, it did and it didn't. In dollars, it went up.
Mm.
Just they lost by their steps. The
but
consumer.
I'm sure the market cap grew in that
Oh, yeah.
industry substantially
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So,
yeah. But
it made
I don't
sense.
know whether they'd be. I don't know the figures anymore. I don't have any contact. I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised by what they're making isn't that great compared to what is spent on it.
Oh, I'm sure.
If I took the same math, my math and theirs,
There's
like I was spending $50,000.
You
I'd
probably
turn it
had
into-
higher profit
Yeah.
margins than what they have.
No, they would.
No,
not.
you think they have higher profit margins?
Probably double my profit margin.
Really?
Yeah.
So their profit margins from what their grossing expenses you think are higher than yours?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But they're probably making less money because of how they're spending. No, I'm just talking about on the product. Their product is way cheaper now than what it costs.
Then what? Yeah, and plus they're buying at a substantial rate too, because I'm sure they're in more stores, things like that, so they're buying more
Oh,
quantity.
they're definitely buying different quantity.
Yeah. So what is the when you were doing it? What's the all-in price for that? And then what did you sell it for?
God, now you're asking the question. I think it was costing me. Well, when it first came out, it was $69.95 for this what they called a starter kit back in those days.
So you would sell it for $69.95.
And I think we were probably paying.
$2, $3?
No, God, no, you can't get it that cheap.
$6?
No. Well, you're way off. That for the electronics at that stage and the batteries, you can't get it that cheap. We were probably paying, what is that, $25, $30?
You're selling it at a loss.
No. We were selling it for $69.95.
Oh, 69.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I thought you said 16.
No.
I was like, wow, that's a big loss. So you were in it for 25, and then you would sell it to the consumer
25
for
cents.
69.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. Not bad. And what do they sell for now?
No idea.
You don't know?
No.
Is that a blue?
It's not a blue.
No?
This is a company called ePuffer, who I highly recommend. I have no interest in the company. I just think the company's a good company. They're
You like
good
it?
people. They do things the right way. I like it. It works
Nice.
for me.
Is it a flavor?
Mine is blackcurrant.
Blackcurrant.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've never had. I'm a big cigar guy.
Yeah.
I like it because of flavor. I like it because of the conversations you have over a cigar. They're long. But never got into cigarettes or e-cigs.
Always loved them. Always loved cigarettes since I was a kid. And I don't smoke them anymore. But
Yeah.
always loved just the act of it.
The act of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. And you know that era too. That it was very popular in that era. Let's talk about cars.
Yep.
I'm a big car guy. We buy car washes, obviously.
Yep.
You're a big car guy. I've talked to you before. You said that in the past decade or so, you've had upwards of 250 different type of cars.
I'd say the sickness has probably reached about 250.
Holy cow!
Maybe a little bit more.
And we're not just talking regular cars. We're talking Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all that.
Yep.
What was the best car you owned?
They're all the best car I owned. I just love cars, and it's
What grew that passion for
My
you?
dad.
I was gonna say your
Yeah.
father.
Well, Sunday evenings back home in Australia,
You take a nice car ride.
no, we would go to car lots and just walk around like them. How
Yeah,
there's
car
always a
meets.
street. No, just car lots.
Oh, just regular
Dealerships.
Cars. Oh, dealership. Okay.
Every city has a strip.
Yeah.
We would just go and walk every Sunday
And
night.
just see the cars.
Just look around, talk to each other about them, look at them.
Really?
Dad, subscribed to magazines, car magazines. It was always around. Him and my uncles loved cars. That my dad treated his cars with respect and love.
I love that.
And so that's how I grew up with it.
So, funny story. Last night I was taking my son home, and we're on 485, and 485 can be a cluster. And all of a sudden, he sees a light blue Cayman Porsche, and he goes, "Oh, Dad, a Porsche!" And this was like about 50 yards in front of me, and I'm like, "How do you know that's a Porsche?"
Yeah.
And so we're sitting in bumper to bumper traffic, and they go, "Hey, Dad, a Corvette." And now he's going to be 5 in December.
Yeah.
And the Corvette was in the fast lane. I'm in the slow lane. And it's a good way ahead of me. And I'm like, you could tell that's a Corvette by the taillights? I'm like, wild. And our friend Steven out there, Steven was showing him a puppy. And in the background of the puppy was the Lamborghini, the Lamborghini Urus seats.
Yeah.
And my son goes, "Oh, that's a Lamborghini."
Yeah.
And Steven looks, and Steven's like, "What?" Just by the seat.
My
son
dad
knew.
and I at night.
It's wild.
By the headlights coming this way,
You could tell. Yep, that's
what
how
car
I
it
am.
was.
Yeah.
I just love it. I still do.
When I was 7 years old, there was a neighbor who was he was a mechanic, and I'd go over to his house, and we'd have the light on and everything, and we would tear down an engine and put it back together. And I was just so fascinated with how the moving parts, operate of a car. I love cars. I think a Sunday drive, it puts you in a different zone, different mood, and it relaxes you. Mm-hmm. So all of your cars were your favorite.
Freedom.
It is freedom.
Yeah, I mean, so many I love, and each different. To me, cars. Every car, whether it's a $500 car or a $500,000, there's everything. There's personality and something in all of them. My first car, a 78 or 76 Toyota Corolla, absolute piece of crap. But there were things to this day I loved about it. The feel of this, or the look of this, or the quirky switch or button. I just love everything about them.
Have you dabbled in the hypercars?
Well,
Bugattis,
now the
Koenigseggs?
terms, who knows? I've not done it because I don't want to. I don't want to spend that much money on a car,
It's a whole different world.
and I don't want to be seen in one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's you tend to, people get a bit aggro at people that that expensive, that it's the reason I don't drive convertibles, because I don't want to be seen.
I don't blame you.
I don't want.
I drive
any
a
of that.
Range Rover, and I tint my front windshield. So my front windshield's tinted. You can't.
It's illegal here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We're in North Carolina, the police, if you're looking.
I actually have a doctor's note because I got LASIK.
Of course you do. Why can't you get a doctor's note now?
My chat GPT has a nice doctor's note because my LASIK eye. So if you're listening, but mine is all tinted around because I like my privacy.
Yeah,
and,
I just don't.
I'm happy with the car.
And to be honest, a lot of my cars, I don't drive them and park somewhere. I'll go on drives, or I'll go somewhere I know, like here.
You're not going to go to the grocery store. You're not going to.
No, I'm not.
You'll drive it and you'll go back to home.
Yeah. Because I just want to be me in the car. I don't go to car shows with them. I don't care what anyone thinks of my cars. It's
for you in the car.
Yeah. I sit in my garage and have a beer and talk to them.
Yeah.
And I drive them and I clean them and I wash them.
That sounds like me.
Just like I used to with my Matchboxes when I was a kid. I would get them out, play with them, wrap them in a tissue, put them back in their box.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with the cars.
Well, maybe I'll come over. We'll have a beer. I'll have a cigar.
Well, most of them are here, but
there. Well, I'll go see them there in a second.
Yeah.
But I like cigars, so I'll have a cigar. You have a cigarette. There we go. But it puts you in a different. It's a form of meditation, I think. When you're driving,
peaceful. Everything else turns off.
Yeah.
You go to bed sometimes and there's noise, or you're sitting at work, there's noise, there's things
but
in
when
your
you're
head,
driving,
you're thinking, you just chill. And then if you're thinking about something, it's something you want to think about.
Yeah.
It's something you're working on. It's like for me, I don't know what it's like for other people, but it's a peaceful space where I can, I'll go drive down to Charleston, South Carolina, and I'll have 2 or 3 things I want to think through on the way. And it's such a peaceful way to do it and think about it. Then you got the aspect of changing the gears and hearing the sound and the feel of the leather or the steering wheel. Those things are fun, but for me it's just a personal thing that I don't need to share. I don't need to share with someone. I don't.
Yeah, it's just you and it's your time.
Yeah,
that's it. No, I love that, and I think it's super important. It puts you in a different zone. Now, Jason, thanks so much for being on. A wealth of knowledge. Excited for your next venture. Something's coming.
Life.
Yeah.
Just enjoy life.
And you got a grandson.
Yeah. Well, not yet.
Grandson or daughter?
Who knows yet?
You don't know.
I think she's only 14, 15 weeks in.
Okay, so you got a grandchild coming though.
Coming.
That's exciting. You got to go back to Australia?
Definitely, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
You think they'll come out here?
I don't know. My daughter, with kids, who knows how busy it gets.
I know.
Just plan trips. Yeah, I don't think they'll do that for a while. But I'll go out and it'll be a good excuse to go home.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Jason, a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much for being on. Congratulations to all your success and all your future success that's coming to you. Excited to meet you and become friends and see where things go between us. And again, thank you so much.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Chris Salerno Show. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insight to help you along your journey. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any questions or topics that you would like to cover, feel free to reach out directly to me. Shoot me a message on Instagram at Chris_Salerno_. Until next time, keep pushing forward and stay inspired.